Ever since I was a little girl, I had a passion for orcas. My love for them increased drastically when I went on my first whale watching tour in fifth grade as a field trip. We saw a large pod of orcas swimming right alongside the boat. In the whole tour, our captain would be telling us facts about the orcas and the different animals that we saw. On that trip, I learned a lot of different facts about the killer whales, and one of the most shocking was about their diet. When you think of animals that the orcas may hunt, you may think of fish, seals, and sea lions, dolphins, maybe even sharks, but would you have thought that moose would be on that list? Next slide. Hello, my name is Erin Kelly. I have been an avid orca lover since I was 5 years old, and I have been on multiple whale watching tours in the Puget Sound. I have also been researching orcas in the Encyclopedia of Puget Sound, whaletrail.org, wildwaves.org, and the NOAA fishery. Today, I'm going to share with you some information about the different types of orcas that live in our area and how human interaction have negatively impacted their survival. Next slide. Firstly, I would like to talk to you about our resident orca pods and what they eat and how they live. Secondly, I will talk to you about the transient orcas and our offshore orcas and what they hunt and how they live. Lastly, I will discuss how humans have affected the survival of the pods in our waters. Now let's talk about the orcas that reside in Puget Sound for majority of the year. Next slide. There are two distinct types of resident orcas. There is the northern resident orcas and the southern resident orcas. They both have matrilineal lines, which according to the website whales.org, a matriline consists of an older female or matriarch and her male and female descendants. Both the northern and the southern resident orcas feed on salmon. They prefer the Chinook salmon over any of the other species. When they hunt, they are very vocal, using their echolocation to locate their prey and to communicate with each other. Both types of resident orcas spend most of the time here in the Puget Sound waters when food is abundant, but when food is scarce, they will travel outside of our waters looking for food. The northern resident orcas have 3 different clans. According to the Whale Trail website, they are differentiated by their distinct set of calls, and each matriline further has their own set of calls or dialects. The 3 clans, A, G, and R, are comprised of 34 different matrilines or pods and over 200 members. The range goes from southeast Alaska to northern Vancouver and northern Puget Sound waters. The southern orcas have 3 pods, J, K, and L. Each pod is a matriline, and each family ranges from 18 to 35 members strong. They travel between Euclid, BC to Monterey, California, looking for food. Now that you have learned some interesting facts about our resident orcas, their diet, and how they live, let's talk about the transient orcas and our offshore orcas and their diet and lifestyle. Next slide. The transient orcas, also known as big orcas, named after Dr. Mike Biggs, the first researcher that studied them. According to the Encyclopedia of Puget Sound's website, the Biggs orca in 2018 had over 500 individuals. 200 of them swam in our waters frequently. Big orcas travel between Alaska and Oregon looking for prey animals. They will eat seals, porpoises, other whales, and yes, moose every now and then when given the opportunity. When hunting, these orcas tend to be silent to avoid detection from their prey. According to the Whale Trail website, unlike the resident orcas that stay with their moms the whole entire lives, Biggs orca females will actually separate from their moms when they first start having offspring and create their own little pod. Each subgroup averages between 3 and 7 individuals. Unfortunately, not much is known about the offshore orcas because they live so far out in the ocean. According to the Whale Trail website, they are known to hunt marine animals, but mainly sharks. While they are usually out in open waters, they have occasionally came into the Salish Sea. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife estimates that there are about 300 offshore orcas that swim in these waters. Next slide. We have talked about the different types of orcas that live or travel through our waters, what they eat, and how they live. Let's now look at how humans have affected these orcas and their survival ability. According to the Encyclopedia of Puget Sound, between 1962 and 1973, at least 263 orcas were either captured or killed in BC and Washington waters. 12 orcas had perished during the captures, and 50 were kept for display in aquariums, most of which were from our southern resident orcas. The sole surviving member that was captured is named Lolita, or Tokite, and is being held currently at Miami Sea Aquarium in Florida. The remaining whales either escaped or were released. Due to this capture and the fact that the orcas do not interbreed between different pods, the loss of so many whales has caused the southern resident orcas to have high levels of inbreeding, which can reduce their survival and even cut their lifespan in half. The main threats that face the orcas today are lack of food, noise, and the amount of vessels that are in the water, climate change that is affecting their prey animals, and human population growth. Most disturbing about the threats the orcas face today is the chemicals that are in the water and in the orcas' prey animals. These chemicals are stored in the fat cells of both the animals that they hunt as well as themselves. As the orcas continue to eat their prey, their chemical levels in their body increase. And according to the technical report called Orcas in Puget Sound that was published in 2007, transient orcas have the highest levels of pollutants in their body. According to the National Geographic article published September 27, 2018, polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, are believed to cause harm to orcas' immune system and reproductive systems. In order to help the survivability of our orcas, the Canadian and Washington government officials, along with many conservation groups, are implementing rules and regulations to help offset some of the difficulties that humans have caused on orcas. Currently, the northern resident orca population is considered threatened. The southern resident orca population are listed as an endangered species in both US and Canada. Big's orcas are listed under Canada's species at risk, while under the same act, the offshore orcas are listed as species of special concern. According to the Georgia Strait Organization, that means they're more vulnerable to being threatened or endangered. Next slide. So now that you have a better idea regarding the orcas and their lives in the Pacific Northwest, let's review what was talked about. First, I talked about our resident orcas. Secondly, I talked about our transient and our offshore orcas. And lastly, I have talked about the implications humans have had on their survival of orcas. Much in the same way that I was shocked to hear that moose are on the menu for some of the orcas, I hope that this presentation you are able to walk away some newfound knowledge, maybe even equally shocking, about these incredible animals.